So this is question number 6 on page 1 of your trig identities, or question number 16, I'm sorry. And this one here, the hard part is just, I guess, seeing it. Okay, remember sine squared x is simply sine of x squared. Okay, so essentially you can write this as sine of x squared plus 4 sine of x plus 3. Okay, and then think just for a minute if we let u equals sine of x. Okay, if I substituted u in for sine of x, because after all, that's what we're doing. We're just substituting equivalent values. Okay, this would be u squared plus 4u plus 3. Okay, now at this stage of the game, you should see that this factors into u plus 3 times u plus 1. Okay, and so if we substitute sine of x back in for u, we would get sine of x plus 3 times sine of x plus 1. Okay, so that's exactly what we're going to do right here, is we're going to factor this top part. Okay, so this is just sine of x plus 3 and sine of x plus 1 over cosine squared x. Okay, and remember this should equal, when we're all said and done, this should equal 3 plus sine x over 1 minus sine x. Okay, these two still seem like they're very far away, okay, but notice this and this are the same thing, so I have part of it. Okay, now the denominators are always harder to change than the numerators, so I try to tackle the denominators first usually. Okay, so right now, the side that we're changing, we have cosine squared x. We eventually want it to be 1 minus sine of x. Okay, well, I go back to my Pythagorean identity. The sine squared x plus cosine squared x is equal to 1. Okay, and I can rewrite this as 1 minus sine squared x is equal to cosine squared x. Okay, well notice 1 minus sine squared is closer to this. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and see if this works out. Okay, if it does, great. If it doesn't, then we can start something over. So I'm going to change this to sine of x plus 3 times sine of x plus 1 over, and then cosine of x I'm going to change to 1 minus sine squared of x. Okay, and remember, I want this to equal 3 plus sine of x over 1 minus sine of x. Okay, and once again, I'm focusing on the bottom first because that's the hardest part. Okay, well, 1 minus sine squared of x and 1 minus sine of x, I can think of this as a difference of squares, right? Because 1 squared is just 1 minus sine of x squared. So this is a difference of squares. So I can actually rewrite this as 1 minus sine of x and 1 plus sine of x. Okay, so then I'd still have the sine of x plus 3 over sine of x plus 1. I want that all to be 3 plus sine of x over 1 minus sine of x. Okay, well now notice, okay, sine of x plus 1, 1 plus sine of x, those are the same things. Those can cancel because they're both a factor of both. So what I'm left with is sine of x plus 3 over 1 minus sine of x. Okay, that should equal 3 plus sine of x over 1 minus sine of x, and very clearly it does. I can rewrite sine of x plus 3 as 3 plus sine of x over 1 minus sine of x. That's going to equal 3 plus sine of x over 1 minus sine of x. Mission accomplished.